Hello everyone, this is Void Spirit. I'm here to bring you guys amazing fanfiction that you will surely enjoy. But before we start, please subscribe and like the video for more amazing content.
Disclaimer is in the first chapter. Archi. Orcus Great Labyrinth, Part 06. Oh. Ah. Hajime felt something as strange when you suddenly dropped down the floor and made that painful sound. The former vampire queen had stopped moving after crumbling down the floor. At first, he thought it was because she was feeling tired. He immediately got close and asked you what happened to her.
Hey. Are you fine? What happened? Hajime shook her small shoulder and got a painful grunt from the vampire as the answer.
He flipped her body carefully and his pupils shrunk when he saw the change in Yu's body. A pulsating red vein-like tattoo was spreading from her stomach, crawling on her smooth, pale skin. It seems that Yu also, demonized, like him and his girls. Morbidly, Hajime watched the transformation. He didn't know about that because he couldn't watch himself when he was transformed, and his girls had transformed when he wasn't with them.
The scene caught Kaori and Shizuku's attention. They got close immediately and watched the transformation closely.
Is she transforming like us? But, isn't a vampire supposedly a demon in the first place? Shizuku gave Hajime a side glance through her pure white bangs. Her red eyes shone with a curious glint. Kaori watched silently, but her red eyes watched Yu's writhing form with a look that's likely saying, "Serve you good, you bitch." It was a look that the old, gentle Kaori wouldn't ever make even to her hated enemy. It told her companions how much she had changed. She also held a grudge towards the vampire because she had taken Hajime's first kiss. Kaori knew that the kiss she had with Hajime when she helped him drinking ambrosia couldn't be counted on for obvious reason. Hajime shook his head, clearly confused. He wasn't sure what happened to Yu. It was clear that she was changing, just like them. However, it gave them more questions they don't know the answer of. A vampire was classified as the demon and they didn't have a problem with eating demonic beast like the human. As the matter of fact, demonic beast was the demonfolk main nourishment because of the mana within. The Yu's transformation was certainly unprecedented. Honestly, I don't know. Hajime shook his head helplessly. He continued watching the process until the end. He felt pity for Yu because he knew how painful the transformation was. Furthermore, Yu didn't seem in good condition from her long ceiling, though, he didn't feel worried deeply because her automatic regeneration would keep her alive. Finally, the transformation finished. The red vein-like tattoo was covering Yu's skin, except her face. Her golden hair became paler, giving the shade of color closer to her namesake. Her body slumped like a marionette which the string had been cut and her eyelids closed, covering her unfocused red eyes. Well, that's it. Hajime looked in the darkness. Since they were trapped in the room, they needed to know how to leave the room. His sense presence didn't feel other threat after the twin-tailed scorpion. It was the last safety measure to keep you in this place. They were safe, for now. Let's take a break here until Yu's awoke.
Kaori nodded her head, agreeing with his decision easily. Meanwhile, Shizuku stood up and took a glowstone from her makeshift satchel from the twin-tailed wolf's fur.
I'm going to look around. Maybe, there is something interesting in this place. Shizuku spoke before walking around with the help of the light provided by the stone.
Left by Shizuku, Hajime and Kaori stayed next to the unconscious Yu.
For Hajime, he wanted to wait until Yu woke up. Yu had become one of his companions. Though he didn't fully trust her yet, she had shown that she trusted him by leaving her fate in his hand earlier. He would give the vampire a benefit of doubt. On the other hand, Kaori stayed next to Yu because of Hajime. The healer wouldn't mind if the vampire disappear. As the matter of fact, she felt she was threatened by Yu, not her life but her position as Hajime's first woman. While they were staying silently, Hajime stared at Yu's unconscious form with a thoughtful expression. An idea flashed through his mind, but he wasn't sure about it.
Hajime, what are you thinking? Kaori's question snapped Hajime from his train of thoughts. He turned his eyes to Kaori and said what was in his mind.
I'm wondering if I can get Yu's automatic regeneration if I eat her body part. If Shizuku and I can get that skill, maybe, our missing limbs can return. What do you think?
That is, Kaori showed a pondering expression. They had eaten all strong monsters they met and killed so far.
In theory, they could gain something from eating you. However, the probability wasn't 100%. There was also the problem with Yu's humanoid form. It was true that Yu was a demon, but she was still a humanoid monster that looks like a normal human. Kaori might dislike Yu because of her audacity for laying her claim on Hajime. But, eating her body part was the different matter altogether. Their moral might have been twisted in the abyss, but not everything was shattered and mended haphazardly.
The idea of eating you was disturbing to say at least.
Kaori contemplated her answer silently for a moment before she spoke what was in her mind. I think it is a good idea. Even though I have confidence in my healing magic, and there is the ambrosia, it can't regenerate a missing limb.
You think so too, huh? Hajime nodded his head with a pondering expression. He then stared at Yu's peaceful sleeping expression as he weighed his options.
After a moment, he hesitantly grabbed Yu's left hand and cut her index finger with gale claw. Yu flinched in her sleep, but it didn't wake her up. With a grimace, Hajime stared at Yu's finger. He shifted his line of sight to Yu's left hand and saw the stump writhed as her severed finger regenerated. He could see clearly how bone, tissues, and skin regenerated back in slow yet still visible on the eye's speed. He shook his head and tried to eat the finger, but he was surprised when Kaori took it away from his hand. Wah! Hajime couldn't finish his word once he saw Kaori bit the finger with a grimace. Hajime's grimace deepened when he saw the disturbing sight of Kaori cannibalizing Yu's body part. The formerly gentle and civilized airhead ate the finger cleanly, leaving only the bone behind. Kaori showed a pained expression after a moment. Hajime panicked at that, but the pain Kaori felt was only for a few seconds. After the pain disappeared, Kaori checked her status plate and showed the upgraded information to Hajime.
Shirasaki Kaori, age 17, gender female, level 35.
Strength 730. Vitality 910. Defense 730. Agility 820. Magic 1790. Magic defense 1790. Skills: Healing Magic
plus Blessing plus Miracle plus 10,000 Heavens plus Increase. Effectiveness plus Increase Healing Rate plus Increase Healing Rate plus Increase Healing Range plus Increase in Magic Power Efficiency plus Continuous Activation. All Elements Aptitude, Barrier Magic plus Light Severance plus Holy Severance plus Heaven Interruption, High Speed.
Magic Power Recovery: Restrain, Examine, Focus, Infiltrate, Mana Manipulation, Iron Stomach, Lightning Bolt, Gale Claw, Air Dance plus Aerodynamic, plus Supersonic Step, plus Steel Legs, Curse plus Petrifying Gaze, plus Poison Fog, plus Paralyzing Powder, Night Vision, Farsight, Sense Presence, Detect Magic, Hide Presence, Poison Resistance, Paralysis Resistance, Petrification Resistance, Language Comprehension, Compound Magic, Diamond Skin, Automatic Regeneration. Besides the level up and sharp increase in statistics, Kaori did gain Yu's automatic regeneration. After storing the status plate back into her makeshift satchel, Kaori cut her left pinky finger without warning. Hajime was caught off guard by Kaori's sudden actions. Before he freaked out, however, the stump regenerated back. Both Hajime and Kaori released relieved sighs. It seems that my hypothesis is correct. Hajime picked Kaori's finger and hesitantly ate it. He grimaced when he realized the taste was no different than the demonic beast's meat they ate so far. A small part of him wondered if Kaori's meat would taste better, though it was a disturbing thought.
Hajime felt pain in his stomach for a moment as he digested Kaori's meat.
He missed the dazed eyes and heavy blush on Kaori's eyes when he ate her. After the aching pain, not painful enough to warrant ambrosia, disappeared, he felt itching sensation from his stump. He realized that his stump had a problem for regenerating because the wound had closed. Hajime soon cut the stump, opening a fresh wound for his new automatic regeneration could take effect. It was painful, but he held back the pain. Then, his missing limb slowly regenerated back. At that time, Shizuku returned from her patrol and saw the scene of Hajime's regenerating arm. Kaori cut her pinky finger once again and let Shizuku eat it. A moment later, Shizuku's missing limbs regenerated slowly and she cried in joy. Speaking of which, I found this magic circle behind Yu-san's former jail. After her limbs regenerated, Shizuku remembered her finding and informed Hajime and Kaori. They stared at each other in the eyes before asking Shizuku to take them to where she found the magic circle. Oh. Hajime checked the magic circle carefully. He was hesitating for a moment before stealing himself and pouring small amount of his mana to get a reaction from it. The magic circle shone with mysterious light. Surprisingly, nothing bad happened. There was no extra trap or a super monster like the scorpion appeared, a part of the stone floor opened instead. From the small hole, a small pillar-like pedestal rose. On top of the pedestal was a smooth orb. Then, the orb shone and projected the image of a handsome man with red eyes. Hajime and his girls watched the image projection carefully. The image started to move and the person slowly began to talk.
Eladia. Long time no see. I wonder if saying that is a little wrong.
I think that you surely hate me. No, surely word like hate will not be enough at all. What I did, that's not it. This is not what I want to say. Even though I have been thinking of various things, now that the time has come to leave my last will I cannot speak smoothly. While making a self-depreciating wry smile, the man pulled himself together by clearing his throat. Hajime shared silent glances with Kaori and Shizuku. They didn't voice their doubt, but they had suspicion to who this video-like projection was recorded for. They also realized the former vampire queen's real name was Eladia, but they didn't make any comment. They continued to watch the video-like projection. That's right. First, let me say my thanks. Eladia. Surely, right now on your side, there should be someone who you are trusting from the bottom of your heart. At the very least, that person must be a strong person who could obtain metamorphosis magic, and able to challenge the true Orcus Great Labyrinth, a person who didn't abandon you from the guardian that I prepared and rescued you. Hajime and his girl's eyes were widened at that.
You there who is close to my beloved niece. I wonder if you are male, or are you female? For Eladia, what kind of existence are you? Are you her lover? Are you her friend? Or do you become her family or her comrade?
I apologize that I cannot meet you directly to say my thanks, but I still want to say it no matter what. Thank you. For saving this child, for being close to her, thank you. I offer you my greatest gratitude in my whole lifetime. Eladia. Surely many questions are flooding inside your chest. Or else, perhaps you already know the truth. Just why, that day, I hurt you, and buried you inside that bottom of darkness. What kind of existence are you, and who is your true enemy? Hajime focused his attention on the video-like projection. The words, true enemy, stirred something in his chest and he didn't want to miss anything. He was also curious what the meaning by Yu's existence. He had feelings that Yu's someone beyond normal, but it seems Yu's existence will be explained by this man. Hajime and others listened to the truth of Yu's existence as demigod, a special existence who was blessed by God, and she was aimed by Ahitoruhue to be his new body since her body was very special, a body that close to the divinity. The man in the projection, whose name was Denreed Guardia Vesperatirio Avatar, Yu's uncle, explained how he noticed that and pretended to kill Yu in his coup d'etat with the disguise that he was blinded by greed. He then sealed her in the abyss. The room where she was sealed itself was a hidden place that could fool even the god. The sealing of Yu was also a bitter choice for him so that her presence couldn't be possibly detected even for a bit.
I was hesitating whether to tell you the truth or not until just before that day. But, for the sake of deceiving that guy, the fake god, with certainty, I judged that I shouldn't tell you.
I also thought that if you hate me, then that would be a motivation for you to live. Surely Denreed also couldn't stay for long in the sealing room. That was why after pretending to kill you at the palace, there was no doubt that there was also no time for him to talk with her. Just how filled with bitterness that choice that he made, it was shown by the strength of his hand clutching at the other side of the image. Even so, it doesn't change that I had hurt you. I won't say anything like your forgiveness after this late.
However, I want you to please believe only this. I want you to know this. Denreed's expression changed from anguish into an expression of smiling while crying. That look was overflowing with gentleness and kindness, at the same time it was also filled with hopelessness and sadness.
I love you, Eladia. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I have never thought of you as bothersome, not even for once. I thought of you as my daughter. I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry that I couldn't do anything but to entrust you to someone in the future. I'm sorry that I act like a pathetic father. Something shining was gathering at the corner of Denreed's eyes. But, he didn't let that flow by any means. While enduring tightly, he spun words toward his beloved daughter with all his heart. I wanted to be at your side, seeing your figure when you grasped your own happiness someday. It was my secret dream to punch the man standing at your side once. And then, after that, I wanted to exchange sake with him, and say, please take care of my daughter. It was the partner that Aledia chose. Surely, he would make a firm promise with a serious face.
Denreed was looking at far away as though seeing a dream on the other side of the image. By any chance, there might be the you of the past at the direction of his gaze.
It will be the time soon. There are more things that I want to talk, various things that I want to convey, but, with my creation magic, I can only make an artifact of this degree. Denreed smiled wryly at the approaching limit of the recording, to that you reached her hand while crying. I cannot be on your side anymore, but even if this life is about to run out, I'll continue to pray. Aledia, my beloved daughter, I wish for infinite happiness to shower above your head. For you to walk a path that is warmer than sunlight and gentler than moonlight. Denreed's gaze wandered. Surely that was because he was imagining the person who was being close with you. To you who are very close with my beloved daughter. It doesn't matter what kind of shape it is. Make that child, to be the happiest girl in the world. Please, I beg you. Hajime stared blankly at Denreed's pleading expression. Something stirred in his chest. He remembered his decision when he saw Yu's gaze when the scorpion appeared, a resigned gaze where she let her fate in his hand.
The recording was fading down. Denreed's figure melted into empty air. It was as though his soul was going away.
Opening square bracket ... Goodbye, Aledia. I wish that the whole world that is surrounding you, to be filled with happiness. When the image projection disappeared, tension engulfed the silent room. Hajime, Kaori, and Shizuku didn't make any sound because they couldn't express their feelings. The video-like projection showed them some disturbing things.
Shizuku moved first, turning her head around, and stared at Yu's unconscious body. Her red eyes showed pity.
What a pitiful child. Honestly, this thing makes me feel complicated within. Kaori made an expression that showed her inner feelings. She followed Shizuku's gaze and stared at Yu's unconscious form with a complicated expression. Originally, Kaori hated Yu's guts because her territory as Hajime's #1 lover was invaded by the vampire, but she felt complex emotions she couldn't explain with a mere word when she saw the recording.
Hajime stared at empty space, pondering something deeply. He then blew a heavy sigh, taking Kaori and Shizuku's attention. What's it, Hajime? Kaori gave him a concerned look.
I just realized that our goal to return back to Japan will be wrought with many hardships. Hajime smiled bitterly as he stared at Kaori and Shizuku. A god, huh? I knew that something is amiss when I listened to that Pope's explanation after we were summoned here. But, to think that the real threat comes from a being considered as a god, what a mess. Kaori and Shizuku made a grim expression as they realized what made Hajime bothered. A god had unreasonably abducted them from their normal life and forced them to fight in a war which wasn't related to them selfishly. Then, they experienced something that was too much for normal human being. It changed them into the current them. Furthermore, they found out the same god that kidnapped them here was actually a shady guy. It was truly a mess. What are we going to do? Kaori inquired with a troubled expression. Are we going to fight this god to return home? No other choice than that. Hajime sighed heavily. What could they do? They realized it wouldn't be easy for them to fight a god. Fighting a god to return back home, huh? It cliched as it went. Damn. Hajime mused bitterly in his heart. But, we can't do it alone. It won't be enough with only 3 of us. 4 if we count you in. Shizuku put in her peace of mind. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. Are we going to ask our classmates to fight this god too? Kaori made an unsure expression. She still harbored the grudge to their classmates because they were the reason why Hajime, the man she loved with her all, fell into the abyss. However, it was Hajime's expression that showed how unwilling he was to ask help from his so-called classmates. Unlike Kaori and Shizuku who were idolized and adored by their classmates, Hajime experienced nothing but grief because of them. He was bullied, insulted and beaten by them. It was only normal he held a grudge against them.
Hajime? Kaori called him carefully. She had seen Hajime's expression and she was worried for him. No, I won't ask them. I have cut any tie with them after I fell here. Hajime refused strongly.
But, Shizuku's words stopped in her throat when she saw Hajime's glare. She flinched from his baleful glare that looked so inhuman, full of hatred. It shocked Shizuku. Though she was changed, a part of her was still thinking about her friends. As someone who knew the subtlety of human interaction and was blessed with the sharp mind, she realized Hajime was bullied by their classmates. However, she didn't know how bad it was.
No, Shizuku. No, just remembering them almost makes me snap. Do you know it is the fault of our so-called classmates that I fell into the abyss? Hajime retorted with a strong tone.
I know it was because a stray attack, an incident, Shizuku tried to reason, but her words were cut by a harsh, throaty chuckle. It was only beginning. Hajime's chuckle slowly morphed into a hysterical, demented laugh. Chills traveled down her spine when she heard that laugh. She stared at Hajime warily.
On the other hand, Kaori stared at Hajime in the mix of worry and confusion.
An incident. Ha ha ha. You think it was an incident? He he he. Ha 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 ha. Then you're truly blind, Yagashi. Hajime stopped his laugh abruptly and stared at Shizuku blankly, making the swordswoman flinch at his emotionless gaze and the way he changed his way of calling her. You have a sharp mind and you know how they treated me, right? Of course, you know how those guys treated me back in Japan. Shizuku turned her eyes to the floor. She couldn't meet Hajime's stare with her own. Kaori alternated a confused gaze on Hajime and Shizuku. She didn't understand what Hajime spoke of. She was an airhead who didn't know how to read the atmosphere. Because of that, she didn't realize how bad Hajime was treated by her classmates.
A filthy good-for-nothing otaku they called me. They insulted and bullied me. Then, when we were summoned here and they got power, they kicked up the notch, so to speak.
It wasn't name-calling, insult or simple beating anymore. Do you know some of your classmates have done to me? They used me as their target practice. You hear it? They used me as a target practice for their magic, for goodness sake. Ha 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 ha. Hajime laughed hysterically like a madman while covering his face with his regenerated hand. His other hand hung limply beside his body, shaking because of his hysteria. However, he wasn't close to stopping his rant. Do you know how painful it was, being burned by a fireball or being hit with enhanced strength? I endured their treatment and could only smile bitterly because I could do nothing. But, that fireball that sent me down here was the reason behind my decision to sever all connection with them. Shizuku opened her eyes wide as she listened to Hajime's rant. On the side, Kaori had a horrified expression and covered her mouth. They didn't know it was that far. Hajime didn't seem to realize the girl's reaction as he was too engrossed in his pain and releasing everything buried deep in him. His vexed and tired mind from the revelation made his mouth became loose and he spoke out what he buried in his heart. He might be a kind boy and put aside the suffering in the hands of his classmates, but it didn't mean he would forgive and forget easily.
And don't make me start with that moronic ally of justice wannabe you called childhood friend. Imanogawa, that little shit with a delusion of grandeur, knew what happened to me. He even saw it with his own eyes, and what he did? Hey, he just stood on the sideline and did nothing. When those bastards were satisfied with tormenting me, he would walk in and say something he believed without actions to back his flowery words.
Ha! Ally of justice my ass. He is just a loud bark with no bite at all. That little shit had twisted mind and he would bitch around like little kid denied from his new toy when something didn't go as he expected. So no, I won't ask them. I've severed all connection with them. I will let them return back home when we find the way, but I won't lend my help to them beyond that. They can die en route as I care. Hajime finally stopped his rant. His breath was rough and heavy. Sweats covered his forehead. Though he looked exhausted, he felt better because he had let everything out. He finally realized what he had done and raised his head, turning his eyes to Kaori and Shizuku. Kaori had tears falling down her cheeks, but her red eyes were cold. Something dark and malevolent was lurking behind that eyes and Hajime felt glad that thing wasn't directed at him. On the other hand, Shizuku couldn't raise her head, staring at the floor silently. Her right hand was gripping her left elbow, trying to stop her shaking hand to no avail. Guilt could be seen from her body language. When he saw that, he was actually feeling bad. But, he wouldn't take back his words because it was the truth. He took the artifact silently and left the girls alone with their thought. He then walked in Yu's direction.
When Hajime arrived next to Yu, he blinked his eyes in surprise. The vampire was awake and her red eyes were staring at him.
You're awake, huh? Since when? Since Hajime laughed. I can't sleep peacefully because Hajime was too loud. Yu replied with a bland tone. However, Hajime could see the concern in her red eyes. She then realized that Hajime's missing arm had returned. Your hand.
Ah, this. Hajime raised his left arm and waved it in front of him. This came back because of Yu's power. The automatic regeneration. How? When Hajime saw the confused glint in Yu's eyes, he elaborated. You see, those girls and I have the ability to take the power of other demons as ours by eating their body part.
I don't know how we get this power in the first place, but if my hypothesis is correct, then Yu also has this power since Yu has transformed like us. Let's back to the topic. We usually ate demonic beast and Yu is the first humanoid demon we ate. But, no need to worry, we will turn you into our meal. Kaori only ate your finger while I ate Kaori's finger. It'll be the first and the last time. I don't mind if it was Hajime, but that girl, huh? Yu made a complicated face when she found out that Kaori had eaten her finger. She didn't mind if it was Hajime. Even though her finger had regenerated back, she felt unwilling when she realized the annoying nuisance, Kaori, was the one who ate her finger. Like I said, you need not worry. Hajime tried to put away Yu's fear of being turned into a meal, misunderstanding Yu's dilemma. Besides, I have made a promise to myself that I will protect you once I saw your look after the appearance of that scorpion.
No, it's unfair if it's only Hajime. I will protect Hajime too. Yu shook her head as she spoke.
Alright. Hajime accepted Yu's decision and felt happy. He knew that Yu meant what she said since he saw the resolution in Yu's eyes. When he remembered the recording of Yu's uncle, he made a silent promise to himself that he would show it to Yu. He decided to tell Yu about it after they finished this labyrinth. He had feeling something grand awaiting them in the end of this labyrinth and, maybe, it would help them to return back to Japan.
Speaking of Japan, he had made a decision to bring Yu with him. She was alone and had no one. He had promised to Yu's uncle he would take care of Yu since she had put her faith in him. After that, he checked the doors and found a single hollow hole below magic circle engraved on the double doors. He realized that he could unlock the door's locking mechanism by inserting the scorpion's mana crystal, just like how he and his girls unlocked the door from the outside. Soon, they left the room and decided to continue their venture in the orchestrate labyrinth with Yu as their new companions. Speaking of the girls, Kaori and Shizuku had been silenced after Hajime's rant. Both were weighed heavily by the revelation that was spoken by Hajime. Though Kaori felt sad for Hajime and murderous to her classmates and male childhood friend for their treatment to Hajime, it was nothing compared to the dilemma in Shizuku's heart. Oh, footnote. 6th chapter is finished and only 3 chapters left before this story progresses to the second arc. As you can see, the knowledge from the recording and Hajime's outburst is the twist that will change the course of the plotline. In canon, small number of students died, i.e. Hayama and Eri, but in this story many students will die. TBH, I don't feel bad for killing some character. The recording will also lessen Kaori's hatred for you because her audacity in invading her territory, so to speak. But, they will fight and show some carnages in future. Let's be honest here, both of them aren't normal girl and wanting to be number one. Furthermore, their automatic regeneration will make them hard to die or just regenerate when they maimed each other later. Other than that, Yu also gained iron stomach. Unlike in canon, she will grow into Op 2. And just a small spoiler, I'll kill Kuki later because let's be real, he is so unlikable as a character, and I wish Hajime offed him in canon. I have a plan to make his death realistic and a reason for his death so Shizuku can't stop Hajime from killing the little bitch. Anyway, I want to thank you, Jackie Avocado, Passivnox, and Gabriel 790 for the reviews. Anyway, Jackie, when you'll update your own Arifureta fic? I'm dying for the new chapter here. That aside, I hope you leave your review of this chapter. That's it. See you in the next issue. Bye bye.